Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Now that my two obligatory informative videos are done for the day, it's time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. Today, we really just might be current events, might not be educational at all, might not even really relate to fitness at the end of the day. And like I said, I might even get a little bit political here, but let's talk about what's happening with Kenny KO, his smaller channel, and what could happen with his bigger channel. So let me put on my +5 out of weaponsmithing. Work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. This is really kind of a serious matter. We can make a lot of jokes here. We can make jokes, but I don't think this is really that funny. It's kind of serious for me as someone who is a full-time YouTuber. That, we see channels like Kenny who blew up really fast. I'm going to say he is one of the fastest growing fitness YouTubers I've ever seen. He had a really small channel last year. Like late last year, his channel was tiny. Right? Like it's been years since my channel was as small as his was. He blew up. He's passed all of us mid-tier guys. A lot of guys who are working towards a certain threshold. We've been at it a few years. Past us. The guy broke over 200,000 subscribers, it looks like, in the last week or two. I mean, he went from around 40,000 to over 200,000 in something like 6 or 7 months. Am I right? Is that about right? His views are actually gaining on mine. I only have, at this point, with my years of this channel, I think I've got only 8 million total views on him. Because I went and checked. It's like, wow, he is blowing up. And I'm not going to hate. I'm not going to hate. I'm not going to be jealous. I'm going to respect the hustle. I don't know how he did it. I don't know specifically what he's done with his outreach to get there, but he did something right. He did something right. Maybe I should be taking notes. I don't know. But that being said, his channel has blown up. So clearly he's bringing something different to the table that people appreciate. He has to be, or else he wouldn't have blown up like that. Views are blowing up, subscribers blowing up. But his smaller channel got closed. His smaller channel got shut down about SARMs. Now he's concerned, and I saw his video the other day. Some people linked it to me, and he hadn't posted anything. He did that a few days ago. He hasn't made any more uploads. That he was concerned that they would close his bigger channel. Now, some people say, well, is that a realistic concern? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. If you have other channels that are linked together, like through your same AdSense account, stuff like that, YouTube doesn't guarantee they'll do it. I guess they'll base it upon whatever decision they make. They reserve the right to terminate all of your channels. And that's noted in there, that if they have to close one of your channels down, that is linked with another, like they can tell they are directly linked together to you. If they have to close one down for rules violations or policy violations, they may, in some cases, and it says that in their rules, they may go ahead and terminate all of your other channels linked to it. Now, in this case, are they going to do it because he's got a fast-growing channel that they're making a lot of money on over a smaller channel? Maybe not. There's no way to know because they don't tell us how they make those decisions. We don't know. We don't know. And a lot of this happened with the whole gun channel stuff and the gun topic lately here on YouTube. Just because of the concerns of that very thing happening on my firearm channel, I took down 95% of my content. Now I have backup copies of all of it. I might need to take that to another platform, and I'm trying to work on some of that now. Because again, they jumped in, they wrote a bunch of new rules, but it looks like they scared everybody. And they've arbitrarily enforced them, and really the only things that they've hit people for I thought was interesting. Like I had a video get hit. That bigger channels have similar style videos, and their videos haven't been terminated. In fact, they had said the stuff of the manufacturing ammunition was going to be on there. One of the really, really big channels had checked that out and said actually his contact there, because I guess when you reach 500,000 subs, YouTube gives you like a contact there. They assign you a person at YouTube Central to be like, I guess, an intermediary for you. That they told him that no, they didn't mean hand loading, teaching people how to hand load ammo. They meant manufacturing, which manufacturing ammunition has a legal definition in the United States, and it requires a license. In other words, teaching people to hand load isn't the same thing. And apparently, since that rule's gone into place, there are whole channels that literally only cover that topic. That is the entirety of their entire channel that are still up. Like every video on their channels on that topic, it's actually in their names. They don't seem to have been hit. So it's hard to say what they're going to do with that, but a lot of people were concerned due to the censorship of that. You know, and it's the same thing with these other topics. So what did they hit Kenny on? They hit him on SARMs. He had a smaller SARM channel. Well, a lot of this comes down to legalities and safety. We're in a situation where the FDA just changed some of its rulings on SARMs within the last few weeks. Maybe everyone wasn't aware of that. There have been some changes in the guidelines on it. And Orrin Hatch has proposed a bill on the Senate to go ahead and put SARMs as to class 3 drugs, meaning they're going to be the equivalent of other anabolics, which means they're going to be about the equivalent of something like cocaine or heroin. That is what they're proposing. So they're going to fall back under being highly regulated substances. Now, what do we do about that? I don't know. Because honestly, I personally don't believe anabolics should even be illegal. I think they should be treated like alcohol. I think marijuana should be treated like alcohol. That's my personal views. How do we make that happen? I don't know. The government doesn't listen to what the American public want on anything else. They don't listen on marijuana. They know over 50% of the population wants marijuana legalized. There have been surveys checked on it. It's something like if it was voted right now on in a general election, 55% of the American population would vote to legalize it, of registered voters. It's still got federal guidelines. In fact, if you're even given a medical marijuana prescription or a license in the United States, you actually lose some of your constitutional rights because the federal government doesn't fully recognize that, and they recognize you as a marijuana abuser. You lose rights. Go look it up yourself. There are certain constitutional rights you lose automatically for having that license. So YouTube, of course, enforces policies that don't allow you to encourage illegal activity. So what does that mean for certain things? Well, manufacturing ammunition, meaning large-scale manufacturing, is illegal without a license. So if you're teaching someone to do that, YouTube could see that as encouraging illegal activity, right? They're teaching you how to do something that requires you to have a license to do. Same thing with homemade suppressors and stuff. There are special licenses you have to possess one. So that's where they're talking about with that. Well, it jumps over to the same sort of stuff with the SARMs. It's now technically, under these new laws that are coming out, it's going to be encouraging illegal activity. Well, they reserve the right to ban you for that. That's ultimately what it comes down to. Now, is that censorship of free speech? Potentially. I don't like it. But what are you going to do about it? You guys really think people are going to boycott YouTube? I don't think they will. I think everyone's addicted. YouTube has become our new television. I don't think people are going to boycott YouTube because they do that. All you guys are going to still watch it. I'm still going to watch YouTube, even though they might do things I don't like, and even though it's what I do for a profession, I watch other YouTube. And surprisingly enough, people say, do you watch? No, I don't watch fitness. The only reason I watch other fitness channels is for content. That's it. For the third installment to cover current events. If it wasn't for that, I would never watch another fitness YouTube channel. So, and that's just being honest. I don't find them interesting. I think they suck. I think most of the people have shitty information. I have no interest in watching them. I don't think they're entertaining. This is my opinion. I watch them so I can give you guys a current events every day. If I ever shut this segment down, I'll never watch another YouTube fitness video the rest of my life. I have no reason to. I don't think they have much to teach me. Just being honest. But I watch the hell out of other YouTube. Like, I love the music ones. Like, most of the YouTube I watch is music videos. Like, the people who have their own stuff that they do covers, and like that Leo guy with Frog Leap Studios. I watch that all the time. Postmodern Jukebox. Those are like two of my favorite YouTubers. I watch those more than I watch fitness stuff. I mean, I'm not going to quit YouTubing. And most people aren't. It's become our new television. So the only situation we have with all this stuff is to say, well, we have to address this at the federal government. Well, the federal government doesn't care what you think about drug laws either. At a certain point, you got to realize the only way you're going to enforce certain stuff with the U.S. government these days anymore, if you don't have billions of dollars to lobby, is to fight a revolution. That's about it. And to be honest with you, no one's going to fight a revolution over SARMs or anabolics. They're not going to fight one over supplements either. Nothing that we cover in the fitness world is ever going to reach that level where anyone has a vested interest in making any changes at the federal levels. There's just not enough people interested. Fitness and all that stuff is a small little niche. And in fact, they've got a whole demonization campaign they need to keep going to show that, how pure we are in our sports over here. That's how anabolics got outlawed. It wasn't just because of health concerns. It had to do with beating the Russians during the Cold War and showing that we were pure and noble and they were the evil empire. Right? That's the whole reason we demonized them. Certain other countries like the UK determined they didn't really outlaw them fully because there were health risks, but they weren't large enough for them to waste money enforcing laws banning them. Right? It was a waste of effort. And that was ultimately what they ruled. So different set of rules over there on that. Now, and I'll be the first to say they carry health risks. Absolutely. Drinking alcohol carries health risks. Smoking cigarettes carries health risks. Eating McDonald's carries health risks. It's a question of people balancing those out. But the same point we come to, those things aren't illegal. And if you don't think eating McDonald's every day is going to kill you just as fast as pinning some testosterone, you, my friend, live in a delusional world. Because it will. It's going to kill you. It's going to kill you young. If you're eating a double bacon cheeseburger with a high fructose corn syrup, soda, and a bunch of French fries for dinner every day or for lunch every day at work, that's going to shorten your life. I'll tell you, that's just as dangerous as moderate use of PEDs. Both health risks. One of them's legal to give to your kids. One of them's a felony in the United States. See the difference here, guys? It has nothing to do with protecting people's health. It has to do with fair play in sports. And that's the exact reason Orrin Hatch wrote in there the SARMs are there. It has to do with sports. That is his primary reason, his primary concern. So if that gets pushed through, then yeah, I think you can expect any channels promoting SARMs are going to get pushed down because you're essentially promoting a felony at that point if you're telling people to take these things. And it's that simple. So that's why Kenny got shut down. And on that channel, because again, the FDA's already changed rules, and now they're talking about a sweeping legislation to go ahead and just make it a straight felony instead of restricting the sale and use. So you're dealing with that, and ultimately, like I said, if anything drug-related were to ever get pushed at the federal level to the point where the American people demand a change, it would probably be marijuana. That's where you're going to see the biggest push as far as any sort of people's uprising as far as forcing the federal government to change laws. It's not going to be over anabolic. It's not going to be over SARMs. It's going to be over marijuana. Let's be realistic here. And I mean, it's to the point of where half of all conservatives even just say, let's just legalize it, right? I mean, I'm right-wing, I'm conservative, and even I'm going, all right, guys, we need to just legalize this stuff. This is getting ridiculous at this point. So that's what you're going to see first. No one cares about that, and no one's going to make a big deal over YouTube censorship either. Let's just be honest here. It's a privately run corporation. Now, we could argue, and this is what's being argued when dealing with Facebook and other stuff right now in front of the House and Senate and everything else, is that these platforms are important platforms for free speech. So, because of that, and because the federal government is taking an interest in that fact that there is a lot of censorship happening for social media sites, which now seem to be falling under potential First Amendment, because normally private companies are not, but we're getting to a point to where in a way they're a form of press, they're a form of political expression, they're a form of social expression, and so at a certain point those laws may change for companies that are social media platforms when they have certain standards in the United States, and that's probably coming. Can we expect to see that in the next year or two? Yeah, I think there's going to be laws changing there. That would be the only thing that would change some of this stuff with Facebook, YouTube, and whatever. Again, kind of enforcing things the way that they want to, because as of right now, as private companies, they do have a right to do that. And people need to understand what free speech means. Free speech has nothing to do with your ability to say anything you want without consequence, right? You can't do that at your job. You can't walk into a private company right now into the lobby and scream anything that you want without consequences. You know that. That's common sense. You can't say anything you want at your job right now without risk of being terminated, unless you're just that valuable to the company. All right, free speech exists to protect your ability to talk about social and political matters. That is what we mean by free speech. Free speech is not my right to call you a poop-faced stinky head or whatever, to insult you. That's not what free speech is intended for. Free speech is intended for you to give your strongly held opinions on matters of social, legal, and political importance that might be unpopular, that other people might disagree with, and your ability to not be punished by the government for it, not be arrested by the government for it, imprisoned, fined, not to have people commit acts of violence against you for expressing your opinion, right? And that's ultimately what free speech is about. It's not about protecting your ability to just say anything you want, no matter what. It's about important matters of disagreement, whether they're political, social, or otherwise. Important topics. And that's what people need to understand. And yeah, social media has become a platform for that. So then if you have people who are out there promoting the legalization, the changing of laws, for example, that starts to fall under, at a certain point, protected speech. And at a certain point, yeah, I think we're going to see the court start to step in with social media platforms and address that on a more serious level. I think it's coming. And I think these recent Senate hearings we had are going to be indicative of that. And I don't know. But in the meantime, because of the way the current laws are, the way things are, YouTube had every right to terminate that smaller channel. And if they choose to terminate his bigger channel, they technically have that legal right as a company. They do have that right. Would it be a good business move for them? No, because they're making money off of his bigger channel. YouTube gets like a third of our income. Everything we make, they get a chunk. They get their share. He's making money for them. And he's not technically doing the other stuff on that channel, so it probably wouldn't be a good business move for them to do it. But do they have the right to do it? Yeah. Might they cut his bigger channel because of it? Yeah, they might. Do I think they will? I'm going to guess probably not. I'm going to guess they probably aren't going to do that to him. But we don't know, because it's ultimately up to them and their moderators to decide. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.